Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grindcast, the official podcast of grindedword.com.
You want to do a second take? Or
you were about to say grope, weren't you?
Well, he's staring into my eyes. It's a rope.
Grindedword.com. I am Will, and I'm here with...
A rape victim.
And Jason. Hi.
Will rape me with his groping eyes.
I just all of a sudden had this stutter that I never had before. Just developed it right now.
That's what happens when people look into my eyes.
Ghost!
Everything makes sense. I'm mad. I'm not a rape victim. Not yet.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Rape's not
Haven't
funny.
had an autopsy done.
I don't know what's going on anymore. I just got a sandwich, and now we're talking about raping corpses, apparently.
Nobody said that. That was your saying.
It
We
is.
perform autopsies on corpses.
It is the second episode. Anything goes.
It goes. Sandwiches are happening.
There's no rules. 100%.
There's rules.
100%
Happy Monday.
freedom.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Alright, well, I guess we'll get into some news to start Monday off. For people. You know what? If we even be like, oh, it's Monday, we probably even should say that, because most people are like, download this, probably fucking Saturday. I don't know, like,
Well,
2 weeks from now.
it's released on Monday
Okay.
to an opening.
There you go.
To an opening of some sort.
It's just something. Alright, well, starting with, we're going to go in the news.
I should not be this reserved right now, and yet I have to be. Because Will is off the fucking rails right now. He's never this bad.
Alright, with news.
It's that
Yeah.
fucking shirt. That's what it is.
And there was rumors the Wii U was supposed to be stopped with production in 2016, and then immediately 5 minutes after all the major game platforms announced this and made videos of it, Nintendo's like, well, we never said that. So they're like, we actually really plan on continuing production of the Wii U even into when the NX comes out, which I don't know if that's a smart move, but Wii U hasn't been around that long.
Like I was discussing with somebody at work, this whole NX thing, I feel,
I'm scared.
is very similar to what Sega did
Yes, I'm very scared of it.
back when they were dying. And that is not something I'd like to. I take lightly. I love Nintendo.
Well, yeah, I do too. And they're doing the thing that scares me with this is they're doing the same thing with this that they did with the Wii U. They're keeping it really shrouded in mystery. Because that's what they did with the Wii U. They're just like they're showing pictures like we have a new console, and they just showed a picture of like a TV on an entertainment stand with it like just sitting in there. People like, and they just show people holding the controllers. And they're like, "But where's the? Is that it? Is that a Wii? What is that? What's that thing?" And then Nintendo's just like, "We're not telling yet." They're like, "Well, what's it called? The Wii U."
No, they didn't.
But I already have that. No, you have a Wii.
They didn't release about that name originally. I can't remember what it's.
Project Dolphin.
Project. No, Dolphin was for the game.
I know. I was just.
It was some stupid name though. I can't.
Was it
think of
Revolution? Or was that the Wii?
Revolution was the Wii, which I find silly. It kind of did revolutionize a lot of things because Sony and Microsoft then were like, we got to get in this motion control business right
And
now.
they killed it. Which is what's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen with VR.
Historically, for Nintendo consoles, they continue the previous generation producing, sometimes with a reformat, like the NES Top Loader, the SNES Mini, the Wii Mini.
God.
You know, they'll re-release. I think what they're
3DS.
saying right now is that they're going to continue production of the Wii U, but they're not saying in what way. Are they going to release a different one that maybe doesn't have backwards compatibility but has other things on it? Or it's going to be cheaper? Or, you know, what are they going to do? But the thing is, they have a lot of these already manufactured, sitting in warehouses, I'm sure. And
Top Man.
in all honesty,
Man.
the Wii U has not done well. The games
No.
are good, but
What?
the system has not sold well because, well, a couple of things. Thing you brought up earlier, the confusion when it launched.
Yeah,
People
well,
like,
you don't have to prove it to me. I know it's not.
the people already, the people like, well, I already have this. What is this, an add-on? Am I buying the controller pad for my Wii? What is this? They were so confused because a lot of the people that bought Wiis were not exactly gamers, so they weren't exactly like hip to the insider news and shit like that.
I blame Reggie.
Yeah, I blame Reggie for a lot of things, but
Leave the poor fucking pedophile alone.
Wait,
He did
what?
his time. He's not a pedophile.
Oh,
He
okay.
just looks like a pedophile.
I think you're thinking of Jared. But
What's the difference?
well,
He
yeah.
worked for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Never.
Hot minute.
Iwata would have killed him from the
Probably.
moment he stepped foot
Yeah.
in Japan.
Just
He
hand-
would've-
He just hands him the sword. He's like, Jared's like, what's this tiny little katana for?
First of all, fuck you. Jared's not honorable enough for seppuku.
Yeah, true.
Like, you need to cut off your pinky. He's like, oh, no, not that one. You won't be harming kids ever again.
So back to harming kids, Nintendo. Putting
Did
out.
nothing wrong.
You know what? In all I feel terrible about, like, because there's a lot of people that are always like on that Dreamcast boat. They're like, Dreamcast was a great console. It's like, I'm not gonna
Ahead of its
say
time.
it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it's ahead of its time. I'm not gonna say it was a terrible console. It just wasn't marketed well. I feel the same for the Wii U. I think it's a very underrated console. I like how the pad works with the games.
Oh, the fucking Wii U's, everything about it is really fantastic,
Yeah.
except no one cares.
I fucking love it.
That's the problem.
What was wrong with the Dreamcast launch? $99.99. Like, I thought I was handled well. I think that afterwards they didn't really.
No, that's what I mean.
They didn't have enough to keep it afloat.
Their marketing campaign was garbage for its life run. They didn't really do
Yeah,
much
over
with it.
time, yeah. They didn't push
just-
what they could do.
Like I said, I'm feeling like Nintendo's kind of going that Sega route, and the Dreamcast was slightly ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Its problem was, like you were saying, they handled it really, really poorly.
Well, I feel that way for a lot of Nintendo products lately. Like, even GameCube, which was an excellent console, it came out, they were like toting their horns about this thing for like a good year maybe, and then after that they fell into quiet. They didn't really make that many more first-party games for it, and then they just let a bunch of shit third-party stuff on it. And then, like, here came Zelda toward the end, but they did that to sell the Wii more than make sales for the GameCube.
Most people got GameCubes for Wind Waker.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying, like, there weren't as
And-
many, like...
A lot of the first-party games that they released originally is honestly what kept things like the GameCube afloat for a while, because people were still playing Sunshine, still playing Melee, still playing Wind Waker, still playing
Double Dash.
Oh, I fucking still play Double Dash.
Double
now.
Dash was that was the version I got. I got the bundle with Double Dash on.
Because Double Dash was fantastic.
I don't know. I just feel like they tote their stuff really well in the beginning, and then they just kind of...
They stopped caring because
fizzle. Like,
it feels like they're trying to move too far forward when they should be concentrating on right now.
right. And I feel like, especially now, because they're making consoles that revolve around a gimmick lately. And the Wii, it was like, oh, it's motion controls. They put out some games that worked well with it, and then it was just, they kind of seemed to ditch it after a while. Like, toward the end, it's like, just turn the
They were
fucking...
focused.
Third parties wanted nothing to do with
Yeah.
it because they had to program something completely different.
They wanted to focus more on their portable.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at it, their primary console doesn't do as well anymore as the DS, the 3DS, stuff like that. They do so much
No,
better.
I won't deny that. They're
Which is-
killing with the 3DS.
Which is why there's talk of the NX being both
Yeah.
the successor of
Well, yeah, we'll just tie both these in together.
Obviously, why not?
the
It's
successor
silly,
of
though.
the 3DS and the successor of the Wii U.
It's silly, though, because you could get another at least 5 years of 3DS. Easy.
Yeah.
But they won't. Because
So you think the NX will do like the NX XL and
Probably.
the new NX XL 3D?
Yeah, that's the thing about Nintendo handhelds is they do pump out a bunch of different variations, but at least they do something different other than just changing the color.
yeah, because the 2DS was, while it looked retarded as hell, was a more affordable 3DS, so you can play the 3DS
Electric
games.
Toast.
You know, in all honesty, though, they did the 3D when they did the DS the first time.
That thing was
That
humongous.
first prototype, or
It was a Game & Watch.
I call it. I constantly call it a prototype because they pumped that thing out for you. You know, that was like what they wanted to sell, and I'm like, it still looks like a prototype. Like no one in that office was like,
awkward gray.
they're like, let's go with that. It has like these weird fucking angles to it. It's clunky as all hell, but still.
It was like the original Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Duke.
But then they did the light, which is kind of what the style that they stuck with then for a while. Like even the new ones even kind of still have that. It's a little bit more
It's round.
fluid looking and
Yeah.
flush. But they did the light, and then they went and did the DSi. They just
the
put
camera.
a fucking camera in it, which I'm like,
Yeah.
you could have
And-
just waited till you did something that was a more of an upgrade, and then just had the camera in it instead of
actually-
making the camera as a selling
The
point.
DSi actually did add quite a bit to the DS, except no one cared about because
It had more online
I don't.
capabilities.
It had online capabilities. Is what you mean to say?
Yeah.
Instead of your cat's gonna jump right out the fucking window.
I know.
Because it added a camera, which for the most part, you use your fucking phone, which was definitely better than the DSi's camera. But it's like, oh, it's like I have a Game Boy camera on my DS. Then it had the basically like an MP3 player, but you couldn't play MP3s, so you could play AAC files, which means you had to convert your MP3s into AACs and then put them onto an SD card, so you can listen to your music from your DS. Which again, I'm just gonna do with my MP3 player.
Right, yeah.
Because when I put my CD into my computer, it's an MP3 and goes directly to my MP3 player.
Right.
It had a web browser, which again, you'll just use your fucking phone for because you needed Wi-Fi for the DSi's web browser.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of stuff. It's just overshadowed by technology that was just better.
Yeah, I mean, the PSP even had a better browser.
No one
Yeah.
cares about the PSP.
Well, I'm just saying
Which
it
is
did.
the hilarious
I'm just
thing.
saying it
'Cause
did.
It was a good system.
Well-
there's a lot of good games, and then people were just like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about this.
Widescreen. Think about it. A handheld that was widescreen. It's crazy.
I played like 4 games on the PSP. I'm not even gonna lie, and I liked them.
Mhm.
There was I Want to Be the Hero. No, I Want to Be the Hero. The one with Prinny. I can't remember what the fuck it's called. Where you play as a Prinny and you have 999 lives, and that's all you get, and you die a fucking lot. And then there's Dissidia and Dissidia 2, which I liked both of those.
I know. No, I'm just saying I know.
Stop
getting so offended about every fucking thing that comes out of my mouth.
You kind of made it seem like you were like, "Fuck you! How can you like that?"
No, I just said
Anyway.
I know. I agreed with you.
Well, I think what Nintendo's kind of doing with this is they're kind of like already with the Wii U, you can play on the pad as well as on the TV.
Which honestly is a fucking phenomenal thing, because I won't lie, I was a power hog for a bit. I would just like play Wind Waker while I put a DVD on like my Xbox and had that on the TV.
See, what I'm afraid this thing is going to be, though, is kind of like when they released that Neo Geo X Gold, where basically it was just a plastic shell that looked like a console that just had a dock inside of it that you then just put the handheld inside of.
Well, that's a possibility.
I don't want it to be that.
You don't want it to be a Super Game Boy?
Well, you know what it might actually be is they're talking about getting like a little HDMI, a wireless HDMI that you would plug into the back of your TV and it would pick it up as a wireless signal.
I
So
want a
that-
fucking console.
See, that would be really fucking cool just in general, but just make an HD console. Like, honestly,
That's what I mean. Just
Wii
make a
was-
console that's like, what's out fucking now?
Well, they've already
Stop with the
said
gimmicks.
that this console is going to be programmed on similar. It's going to be very similar to the programming of the PS4 and the Xbox. That you're going to be
I
able
love
to.
that you still use
You're
that
going to be
term.
able to use. You're going to be able to possibly have Grand Theft Auto 5 on your NX.
No. with them doing it, that it's going to be a mobile take with you. They're already limiting.
How's that different from Vita?
The Vita doesn't have PS4 quality graphics.
No, but think about it. How is it any different from that?
The Vita sucked.
It was ahead of its time.
I will say this about the Vita. It didn't have the games needed to make it worthwhile.
And you know, well, the other thing that worries me about this? Put on another Smash Brothers. So you want to play that with all your friends. Is everybody going to bring their NX handheld over and sit on a couch in your house looking down at it, not at a TV screen?
You don't have to do that with the current Smash Brothers, though. I think they're going... Whenever they do stuff like that...
I just want a console. I'm sorry.
No, I get what you mean. I totally agree.
But I just don't think that's what we're going to get.
I don't want
from
any
them.
more gimmicks. I just want them to make a fucking console that can compete with what's going out right now and just stop it.
They're not going to do that, though.
Well, they're going to sink. I'm sorry. It's going to eventually
They
happen.
haven't yet.
No, because they came out, here's a Amiibo.
Yeah.
And then people are just like, fuck, here. All my fucking money because I got to get this shit.
Nintendo's kind of like a crazy uncle that keeps, like...
They do weird shit,
Yeah.
and somehow it works
It
out.
works out, yeah.
Like, it's at first it seems real shaky, and then sudden's like, oh, so that's why he got that spool of string to hold up the boat. And I know right now it sounds insane because it should, but somehow now the boat's just fine, and the rock slide goes past it.
The only thing...
Exactly.
The only thing that I
I'm sorry, I'm still getting this analogy.
I can hope for is the fact that it gets third-party support.
No.
That, in my opinion, is the only way Nintendo's going to continue to
No,
survive.
because for the last 20 years, they've been shooting themselves in the fucking foot for third-party support.
I'll tell you right now,
You
a
make
lot of you guys will make this point about third parties not wanting to do it. A lot of them are just either signed with current companies or they don't
because
care.
Nintendo's been fucking them over
But
for the past how long?
But a lot of people have released third-party games on it. Mass Effect, all of Mass Effect has been re-released for the Wii U. Arkham City and Arkham Knight, I believe, even came out for the Wii U. There's a lot of... I mean, fucking Call of Duty was on the 3DS.
Yeah, there's a lot of third-party support on the 3DS, so maybe that'll translate over to this.
It's just
I don't know.
no one cares about third-party support on that console because they're like, I feel more comfortable with this controller in this system.
I just feel like if they were to just make something that was the same, like close to the same, if not maybe better than what is out now, and they just stuck to a console, they're like, you'll get all the third-party games that these guys get, but you also get our first-party IPs, which is what is a huge selling point for Nintendo in the first place. You basically have the console that has everything one gamer wants, without the bullshit of Xbox creating the worst user interface I've ever seen for any console in the history of history.
It is pretty awful.
You can go, like, I cannot believe that you can go into an app and your controller just stops working. What the fuck?
My system now doesn't recognize my USB drive anymore when I plug it in. It just goes, yep, there's no drive in here. First it goes, press this button to launch the drive. Then it goes, no drive.
I also found out
Like,
one day.
Are you going senile? What is...
I also found out one day when I was working, editing videos, if I now watch YouTube for more than an hour and a half, it kicks me out of my account.
What?
Yep. It's
like
just
an
good-
Easter egg.
Like, I'll be in the middle of
Hey, you watching that? Fuck you.
I'll be in the middle of my video, and you'll just hear that. Boop, boop, boom.
Yeah.
You'll hear that noise, and it'll just have like suggestions for videos for shit I'd never watch. And then you know you can go to the side and like look at all the ones that you subscribe to. It won't have any of them. So you know what I have to do? I have to go. I can't fix it by just turning the console off and turning it back on because since it's always online, it keeps all of what you did for at least an hour or so in its memory. So I have to push over twice. After I reset my controller to the system to recognize it's alive, I have to push over twice, go down to the system settings, restart console, wait 10 fucking minutes for it to kick back on, or you know what I do? I turn that future console off, turn my 360 on, and watch YouTube till the fucking sun sets. without a goddamn
Which
problem.
isn't it funny that YouTube, on the 360 used to be horrible.
It was.
And now it looks like a shining gold turd compared to what the fucking X-Bone's doing.
Yep.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about. My biggest concern about this whole NX thing is the Wii U's Half-Life isn't even fucking up yet, and they're already talking about a new system.
No, and this is what Sega did.
It's insane.
It's exactly what Sega did.
No fucking game company, up until Nintendo started to get into the motion of the Wii, has been like, oh, you've had that for 3 years? Well, guess what? We got a new one coming up real soon. They wait a lot longer. The PS2 lasted forever. Mm-hmm. Like halfway through the PS3 and Xbox 360.
And that's why the cup runneth over with them when they were running the PS2, because it was like, hey, fuck it. Why? The technology is the same right now. So fucking just keep putting it on there. Like when the PS3 was out, they were still putting out new games for the fucking PS2.
Yeah. You could get what the fuck was it? A bunch of Atlas games like.
Which were good.
Oh, they were fucking fantastic.
Odin Sphere.
Odin, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Odin Sphere. Games like that, and they looked amazing. Like,
Yeah.
just as good on the fucking
I
PS3.
mean, they did lag like a motherfucker in certain spots, but they were still fun.
Well, yeah. Did you see the way the game looked?
Well, yeah,
on
it
the
was,
PS2.
it was gorgeous. Everything was animated, flawlessly animated with motion. But then they also wanted to throw like 500,000 enemies on screen. PS2's just like,
Well, if you look at like historically for the NES, for the Nintendo NES, they started producing in the States in '85. The last production I think was '94. So there's 9 years there. The Super Nintendo was 90,
yeah,
and it ran up until like 98. Then the 64 came out I think in '96. And I think that ran until like 2002, somewhere around there.
Sounds alright.
And then Cube was like, I think 2000 or 2000.
2001.
2001, and then that ran up until I would say probably 2006.
probably somewhere around.
See,
there.
I see how like their lifespans are getting shorter.
Yeah.
Well, no,
and I just see
actually,
It's pretty foolish.
this past generation of consoles ran pretty long. Like the 360, PS3, and Wii. They were around for almost
did
10
that.
years.
The Wii, I honestly don't think they were doing it on purpose. I think they were just doing it because they were just doing it. But Sony and Microsoft were doing it to test the waters. Because they had planned to release a new system, probably halfway through their current system's lifespan. They were just like, what can we do to draw people in? Because we don't want to release another PS3.
Right.
We have to make it unique. Otherwise, people are just going to be like, I own that system. I'm not buying it again.
Right.
Which goes back to what you were saying about the Wii and the Wii U. They added a gamepad, which most people were just dismissing because it just seems silly. And
Right.
pointless. Which, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't care about that. I only really cared about whether or not it's going to be an actual HD gaming system.
Right.
Because I don't really need. I have no AV cables. I have
Because
none.
the Wii only would go, what, 480? 480p?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like standard definition, that's it.
You know what I really would wish this would be? I wish it would be a console that can compete with what's going on now. An actual console. But what it does is, since Nintendo's getting into the mobile market now, because they're putting out some of their games like, oh, here's Mario, you can play on your phone or whatever. What I wanted to do is that they launch their own. Okay, that they launch their own mobile market, and the games that you can buy for that console have versions that you get a code for that you can download to play on your phone while you go. But it's not that game. It's like you
Okay.
download a version that you can play to unlock stuff.
Okay.
That otherwise you wouldn't be able to unlock in the game that you're actually playing. So it's an enrichment. It enriches your experience while you're not at home. For the main game, at home.
They did that.
So-
They experimented a little bit with that with some of the Pokemon stuff, transferring from DS to.
Yeah, and this kind of reminds me of like Dreamcast when they had the
VMU.
removable memory cards, and you could play to unlock shit that would stay in your save, and you could bring it into your game.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure used that. There were a few other games that used it too.
I mean, if you want to make a gimmick, make a functional gimmick. Don't make, don't make something where you're trying to change the curve, and then it's something that people are going to get tired of, like, 3 years later. And I swear to God, if it is something where it's like, well, here's the system, it's basically a handheld, and then we'll sell you an accessory that's basically a dock to sit in front of your TV, to plug into your HDMI port that you sit it on. And then you have to buy a controller to play it at home while you sit on your couch, and it's plugged into your TV, or something like that.
Like I said, it's all still speculation. Who knows? We're just hearing what's been leaking. Nothing has been actually announced.
Right.
I mean, even the stuff that's been announced hasn't been announced by Nintendo. So, like you said, once again, they're being very secretive, which can either mean that they are mad geniuses or they are crazy uncles.
I'm leaning towards crazy uncle.
They're like the Doc Brown of the gaming world.
Mad geniuses for like 2 console years now, so 2 console generations. So I don't know.